Right, hey guys, how we doing? Back with another video from Annie News, and today we are checking out why Wistoria Wand and Sword is the best new anime this season. Like, it's so good. It really is so good. I watched the first couple episodes as they came out, and then I just kind of like left it. And then yesterday, I just binged everything up to episode 10, which I think is the most recent episode as the time of me recording this. I could be wrong. It's incredible. The animation's fantastic. The story's interesting. The characters are fun. It's and the pacing's decent as well. I feel like a lot happens in the episodes, and there's a bit of intrigue as well and mystery. Let's see what Annie News has to say.
World where magic was everything. Now, imagine traversing that world without being able to use magic. Every person looks down on you for being different, and at every step of the way you're always at a disadvantage. So, do you give up and accept the fact that you'll never belong amongst the mages, or do you fight through all that and chase the dream that you've set out for yourself?
We're gonna meet our friend in the tower.
This is the premise of Wistoria Wand and Sword, and while definitely something we've seen before in a number of similar anime, Wistoria feels like the refined penultimate version of all of them.
Yeah, I don't feel like I'm watching a repeated story at all with Wistoria. Something about it that just makes it really stand out.
It's as if someone put together the Avengers of underdog anime. The story was written by the creator of Danmachi, the anime directed by the director of Black Clover,
Yeah, I knew that,
the
yeah.
animation and art by numerous skilled veterans from all sorts of notable anime, then the music is by the same man responsible for the bangers of My Hero and Haikyuu.
Cool.
Now, I promise I'm not the only one who thinks this too, since the producer himself has gone on record to say that this could very well be the greatest staff ever assembled.
Cool.
Personally, I don't think I'm qualified to judge whether that's true or not, but what I can say is that the end result is amazing. Wistoria takes what's generally a cliche premise and turns it into a genuinely entertaining and captivating experience.
Yep.
It knows what it is and commits to it 100%. So, while yes, that does mean that the plot stays relatively basic, there's a certain beauty behind the simplicity of it all. It may not be this layered story with numerous themes and complex characters, but of what it is trying to portray, it executes it perfectly. From the animation and world building to the choreography and music, there's a clear passion in Wistoria that you just don't see in other anime.
True. It's like so much effort has gone into it. Just right from the very first episode, consistently through. Like I said, the choreography is absolutely fantastic. Some moments where it's just so quick, but just looks so slick. It's awesome. And I do think the story is interesting. I do feel like there's a lot we've not been told, and I think that's interesting. I think the secrets that are going to be revealed as we go down the line. I think certain lies have been told, or like loose truths within the history of said like world. Yeah.
A passion that clearly resonated with me, and I hope to be able to convey to you. So, what is Wistoria Wand and Sword? Well, think dungeon crawling similar to Danmachi, a discriminatory magic academy setting like Mashle, then a magically incapable protagonist like Asta. Combine this with events and tests similar to the irregular at Magic High School, and an overall vibe reminiscent of My Hero Academia, and what you get is a very basic picture of Wistoria.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that those anime define what Wistoria is, but at the very least it's something to compare it to. To make that picture more clear though, this right here is Will, an aspiring student at Regarded Magical Academy who, as you may have guessed, can't use magic.
He's so cool though. Like he just keeps trying, and he everything that he can do, he just doubles down on. Like his knowledge of the history of everything within the books and that, he knows everything. And like as soon as new races or monsters or anything I mention, knows it all.
Why does he attend a school for mages then? Well, that's because of his childhood friend Alfaria. You see, long ago the two made a promise to see the sunset together. They would work hard to become what's known as Magia Vander, ascend the tower as the top is where those Magia Vander reside, then fulfill their promise and watch the sunset from the peak of the tower. The thing about becoming a Magia Vander, though, was that only the 5 strongest mages are allowed to do so. So, either you prove your power by ascending the tower and reaching the top, or showcase it another way by creating a new type of magic not known to exist yet. Any person who ascends the tower is then a candidate to become a Magia Vander, but only 5 are ever holding the title as such. Their actual responsibilities relate to the larger mystery encapsulating the world itself, but that's something I'll leave for you to find out on your own.
Yeah, like the whole concept with the sky and that, like, because yeah, we've had something mentioned in episode 10, which makes me go ooh.
For now, all you need to know is that this is the position Will is striving for. Now, the reason I only say Will is because Alvaria has already become a Magia leader. She'd exhibited talent unlike any other mage before her, and left Will behind with nothing but these goggles and a motivation to catch up to her. Both are intent on fulfilling their promise, but one has a much more difficult path than the other. So, in a world where talent for magic is valued over everything, how then does a talentless person like Will ascend? This brings us to that all too familiar concept of the dungeon, since it's here where those without talent can prove themselves.
Yeah, like it's a credit system, isn't it? So like to what you call it, to finish the school, you have to have so many credits to finish, and when you go into the dungeon, certain monsters have like certain credits, so it's an absolute grind, but like it's just the only way you can do it.
You see, Garden Academy runs off a credit system.
Right,
Out of 12,000 credits that can be earned in total, 1,000 are needed to graduate from one year to the next.
At least I understand the
6,000 are
concept.
needed to graduate fully, and 7,200 are required if you want to advance to the next part of the tower, the Upper Institute, which is the next stage of Will's tower climb. If Will wants to make it there, then he first needs to gather 7,200 credits.
So, like, yeah, put it in perspective. I think last time we saw him in the dungeon, he was like looking at how many credits certain monsters were, and some were like 3 and 5. You know, like it gets in the hundreds is like high score. So yeah.
The thing is, earning those credits are easier said than done, since the ways one can earn them are broken down into 3 main curriculum. There's writing that's worth a total of 3,600, practical training worth another 3,600, then spellwork itself worth the most at 4,800. Since spellwork isn't something that Will can do though, that's 4,800 credits off the table automatically for him. It means if he wants to make it to the Upper Institute and keep his promise, he needs to be perfect in both writing and training. Luckily for him, writing is just a simple matter of studying, while the practical training is something he's actually quite good at. It's the process of killing monsters down in the dungeon. Every time he eliminates one, that's a few more credits added to his record. It brings us to the very aspect that makes Will shine, since where he lacks in magic, he more than makes up for in everything else. Whether it be strength, agility, swordplay, or tactics, when it comes to the battlefield, Will is an absolute monster.
It's so natural
He
to him.
possesses superhuman strength no mage comes even close to, the durability of a dwarf with his sturdy, rugged body, sword slashes faster than even lightning, and insight into battle that lets him understand an enemy after seeing their movements once. This, of course, didn't come without incredible amounts of training, but when you put it all together, he's honestly this weird combination of Bell, Deku, Asta, and Mash.
Yeah.
Deku because of his notepad and childhood rivalry. Yeah, Will even has his own light version of Bakugo. In any case, this makes every fight with him a total spectacle, since the abilities he puts on display are truly amazing, especially when they're used to show up those who underestimate him, of which I can assure you there is plenty of.
It always looks
This
so
is actually
good.
the number one problem Will faces in the Academy, since as a sword-swinging brute in a world of elegant mages, the discrimination he faces is endless. Yes, it is a bit cliche, but like I said in the beginning, the way it's done is better than most. What I mean is that, rather than have the bullying be this minor element creating some form of superficial adversity, the bullying here fuels Will's growth both internally and externally. It's a core plot device significantly strengthening the development of him and the characters around him. It's never just for the sake of making Will the underdog, but instead usually goes beyond that. Now, the way it's done is also quite extreme too, since the man has been non-stop bullied for 6 years straight. Like, there's even teachers that constantly try to make a fool of him.
Yeah.
The way he continues forward, focusing solely on his goal though, not only highlights who Will is and the determination of his character, but it also makes every time he succeeds that much more satisfying. His struggles are by no means very complex, but I believe the simplicity of it all makes them that much easier to get behind. So, all in all, this is a story about Will, and it's the portrayal of him as he pushes past the societal limitations imposed on him. It's a story of perseverance, resilience, and tenacity. One that follows an admittedly simple goal of keeping a promise, yet builds around said goal with finesse and polish. All that is further refined through the overall presentation of the anime, which is by far the strongest part of Wistoria. At first I couldn't pinpoint why watching Wistoria felt so different, but then I realized it felt like I was watching a movie.
Yeah, it's
Everything
such
from the
high
tone, pacing, and
standard.
music, all the way to the shot direction, sound work, and animation, carry with them this refined style you'd usually only ever find in an anime movie. Like, a great attention to detail was put into bringing the setting to life, so whether outside by the windy corridors of the Academy's garden or inside within the massive open area of the spell hall, the atmosphere, background, and sound design match perfectly. It's clear they were all meticulously crafted to engross the viewer as best as possible. So, here footsteps echo as tensions build between Will and his teacher, while the flowing sounds of wind set the tone for the conversation Will and Colette are about to have here. In fact, with a single sentence, 3 small cuts, and that natural background noise, all at once we were shown the grand nature of the tower, Will's admiration for it, then a hint towards the person waiting for him at the top of it. To me, this was a true application of that whole show don't tell attitude, and that's something that makes the most out of the fact that this is an anime. So, over and over I was blown away by just how well some of the smaller scenes were executed. It's a level of quality that, for the most part, remains consistent throughout.
Yeah, it's like, it's all, everything looks amazing. The attention to detail is just spot on. Everything's fantastic.
That being
It's
the
so
case,
consistent.
even if you are turned off by the simplistic nature of the story itself, at the very least you should be able to appreciate the cinematic direction of it all, especially when it comes to the fight scenes. This is the very juicy cherry on top, since in addition to all the detail put into just the regular scenes, even more so is added when it comes to the fights. You see, rather than brief action sequences with flashy lights and invisible characters, Wistoria's fights are filled with fluid animation and stellar choreography. There's amazing camera work I would say is better than a Studio Gohan's trailer, impactful hits and emotional stakes, then above all a clever use of abilities that always makes it feel like Will worked for his victory. I mean, yes, he is pretty OP, but when it comes to putting sword against wand, the way they balance the two is never too one-sided in either direction. Magic should by all means have the advantage, but with Will's strength, tactics, and innovative techniques, you're always wondering how it is he's gonna win next.
Yeah, like,
It's a
what's
great
he
way
gonna
of
pull
making
off
the
this
fight
time?
more engaging. Plus, there's always that extra element of him showing up those who underestimate him, so if you're someone who likes that, then there's really no reason for you not to watch this anime. Now, the world building isn't anything too complex, but the way it's told does make it interesting. Something about Wistoria's storytelling just makes those simple topics all the more captivating. There is one big overarching mystery too, but at this point in the story it's not too prevalent. Really, the focus right now is on Will. Aside from that, there's the music by Yuki Hayashi, who you'll immediately recognize as the composer for OSTs from Haikyuu and My Hero Academia. They're actually extremely similar to the point that you might think that you're watching My Hero. This could be good or bad depending on your taste in music, but for me I found it set the tone just fine.
It matches
In
really
any
well.
case, that's pretty much everything that I wanted to say about Wistoria. In a season where good fantasy has been pretty light, Wistoria steps in and fills that gap for us. It's a high-quality take on the talentless wanting to become the strongest trope.
It's so good.
One that knows exactly what it is and delivers on all the elements that make it such. So, if you're looking for a good underdog fantasy with amazing direction, pacing, animation, and music, then I can't recommend enough watching Wistoria. It's my #1 recommendation to you this season. So, if you end up watching it because of this video, then come back and let me know what you thought about it. And if you're already watching, then let me know if you agree with me. I'd love to see what you all think about it. But anyway, until next time.
Ciao. Yeah, it's just so good. I just wanted to like double down on the video and just be like, yep, he's right, because it is. It's like just yesterday I just binged the rest of it and caught up with it, and I love it. It's absolutely fantastic, and I'm not sure if it's 2 core. I don't know if it is. I hope it carries over into next season, but if it doesn't, then there's only like 2 or 3 episodes left. And I reckon this season could potentially have a bit of a cliffhangery twist with the story, considering what happened at the end of episode 10. So, yeah, get onto it. Thank you to my patrons. If you want to have your name at the end of every video, I want to be able to watch Patreon-only reactions, such as the original Dragon Ball series. Link is in the description to the Patreon page. $1 a month is all I ask to help support the channel. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you guys for that. Thank you all for watching. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of this? Click like, subscribe if you haven't already. Leave comments down below. Let me know what I should watch and discuss in future videos. I'll see you guys next time.